Alright, peace be upon you, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? Now, in today's video, and I apologize for the low lighting, I was just walking around, thinking, pondering, praying, and sometimes I just get a wind of inspiration, and I'm inspired to make these videos, so I suppose you'll have to do with the lower budget quality, at least for the visuals and audio, but anyways, so, I don't know, I've been thinking about the Sunni, the Hadith follower, and kind of trying to pick his mind and the way he sees things, and thinking about the Quran, what it talks about, what the Sunni talks about, and really, you can see just how skewed and flawed the thinking of the Sunnis are, or is, I don't know, whatever the proper grammar is, how messed up the thinking of the Sunni is based on the questions that they ask you. And they're completely missing the forest for the trees. They're losing the main purpose, the main priority. So when you start getting into a discussion with them, why you reject the Hadith, why you believe in the Quran alone, and they'll start asking you, how do you know how to pray 5 times a day? How many times a day do you pray? How many rak'ah do you do when you pray? How many units without hadith, if we reject the hadith? And of course, they never read any hadith that gave them this information. They're just assuming that it does, but separate point. They're just pulling the stuff from their behind. But anyways, as I was saying, how many rak'ah? How many units? How many times do you pray? What direction do you pray? Do you face the Kaaba when you pray? Do you face the Qibla? And they start badgering you and interrogating you, and automatically, just by the questions they're asking, you realize just how messed up their mindset is. Like, is that really what you think the Quran is about? Is it about units of prayer? And let's say I give that to you, and I believe we should pray. We should do physical prayers. I believe in the sunrise, the sunset, beginning and end of our day. But let's say it's 2, let's say it's 3, let's say it's 5, let's say it's 7. Let's say you should do 3 units or 1 unit, so there's no counting, or whatever the case is. Is that what you think our religion is about? Is that what's on your mind constantly? Like, I mean, so, like, they're thinking in terms of religion. These people, they're thinking in terms of like small level stuff, like you got to do your 5 daily prayers, and you got to make sure to face this direction, and you got to do this many units. And that's not what the Quran is emphasizing. And am I saying the Quran doesn't talk about prayers? No, do your physical prayers, but what is the Quran really talking about? What is it trying to encourage within the people? It's trying to encourage a lifelong dedication and remembrance to God. That's what the Quran is promoting. Living your whole life remembering God, being utterly absorbed in the remembrance of God. What is the and again, I'll give it to you. Let's say I'll even give it to you. The Quran says 5 daily prayers, which we know it doesn't, but I'll give it to you. What is the main import of the Quran? What should we be worrying about? Does somebody do their 5 prayers every single day, which I'm saying prayers are fine, prayers are good, or is somebody's, because there are many people who do that, but they are far from God, they do their rituals, or somebody whose whole life is absorbed in the remembrance of God, they think about God day and night, when they drive their car, when they wake up in the morning, God is the first thing on their mind, when they put their head on their pillow, they pray, and they go to bed, and God is the last thing they think of when they go to bed. And then when they're driving, when they're here, when they're there, when they're at work, when they get paid, when they get a check from work, everything, they're thinking about God and glorifying and giving thanks and reflecting and pondering upon God constantly. That's the kind of faith the Quran is talking about. That's the message of the Quran. And my point is, like what I was saying in the beginning of the video, they lose the forest for the trees. They're focused on the small stuff. Like, honestly, reason with me. And it's so deep. Like, the Quranic message, it's so simple yet so profound that it goes over people's head. Like, I want these Sunni type people to reason with me. Who do you think is better? The person who does their 5 daily rituals, salahs, like a good Sunni, is that person better? And then, lives a quote-unquote regular life, or the person, let's say, he does 2 prayers a day at the beginning, at the end of his day, but he lives his whole life to give glory to God, and he's utterly absorbed and enthralled and just almost intoxicated, that's a very bad word, but I should say just completely absorbed in the remembrance of their Lord, day in and day out. Their whole fiber and everything about their being is for God. Who really has embodied the Quranic message? And that's what I'm talking about when I'm debating these Sunnis. This is the kind of faith that the Quran is calling us toward. They are trying to encourage you to hit these points, do your 5 rituals, and make sure to pray in the right direction, and this and that and the other. Whereas my message, which is the Quranic message, it's not my own. The thing I'm trying to promote is do your prayers, but live your whole life being absorbed in the remembrance of God. This is what the Quran is all about. And you just see the flaw in their mindset. They're thinking small level. They're thinking little, but the Quran, the message of the Quran, it's really for only the most deeply spiritual and sincere people. They'll get it. They'll know exactly what it's talking about. I know what the Quran is talking about. Was that the primary mission and purpose of the messengers, to make sure people are doing their 5 daily prayers every single day? When they were going and warning the disbelieving nations, the disbelievers around them, were they trying to get them to do their 5 day, make sure you're facing the right direction? Was that because that's the crux of the Sunni religion? That's the main thing that they're emphasizing. That's the thing that their biggest concern is. When I say I reject hadith, their biggest concern is, how do you know which direction to pray? How many raka'ah? How many times a day do you pray? Is that what the messengers were emphasizing? Or were they trying to encourage the people to be completely absorbed in the remembrance of their Lord? And yeah, that's really what's been on my mind. The Quranic faith, it's not about little points and 5 pillars, and no, it's about deep integration and embodying the spirit of the word, and deep integration of the philosophy into every aspect of your life, to live it, to be it in all that you do. That is the Quranic message, ladies and gentlemen. And what really blows me away is that these people, they think they're the embodiment of the Prophet. They're the embodiment of the message. We're Ahlul Sunnah wa Jama'ah. We follow the Hadith. We're the people who follow the Sunnah of Muhammad, which whatever they mean by that, which we know there's all kinds of problems with that statement, all kinds of problems with that mentality, all kinds of problems with their text. But even putting that aside, they, again, they're thinking, this is the point of the video, they're thinking small level. They want to embody the Prophet, or whatever they think the Prophet did, by dressing like him, trimming their beard like maybe the way he did, and sitting like him when they do their prayer. Whereas me, I'm trying to embody the Prophet too, but in a very, very different way. I want to embody and live the philosophy and embody the spirit of the word that he came and he delivered to the people. That's what I mean by imitating the Prophet. Not these people imitating and cosplaying. It's about embodying the spirit. The Quran is a timeless book. It's not just about this little desert religion. It's it's a spiritual philosophy that can be applied to any place, any time, any moment, and it's adaptable. Not in the way that I should say it can be compromised or changed, but it's a lens that we look at life through. It's not just this bolt-on costume. It gives you the framework upon which to look at your reality. Whether you live in a very primitive desert society, some people are in that, okay, no problem. You live in a village society, you live in a modern technological city like I do, and probably you do if you're watching this video. That's the Quran. It's an embodied and living philosophy. It's not just this bolt-on desert religion that has remained static from the beginning to now. No. These people just don't get it because they don't have the sensitive enough spiritual receptors to see what it's talking about. The Quran is deep, spiritual, and it's powerful. But I know I'm going on and on. I promise, or I should say I apologize if I sound like I'm waxing artistic with you or trying to flex on you. I'm really not. I'm really not. I'm trying to explain something that's truly beyond words. It reminds me of what's said in the New Testament. Those with eyes to see, let them see. Those with ears to hear, let them hear. And only those with real spiritual eyes, those with real spiritual ears, those whose hearts God has opened up wide to the truth, they will understand the living and rich spiritual philosophy of the Quran and its embodiment, and that it goes beyond just tack on 5 pillars, ritualistic religions. So I'll show you the difference in the mindset, or I'll give you an example to illustrate the difference in the mindset between myself, somebody who tries, and I'm not trying to be egotistical here, I'm just sharing with you what I have learned from the Quran, my mindset versus the typical Sunni mindset. The typical Sunni mindset is, oh shoot, I missed Asr 5 minutes ago, the Asr prayer ended, oh, God is going to be upset with me. That's his mindset, and perhaps there is a level of prudent fear there. I'm not saying he won't get rewarded for God, like he's trying to be attentive over this commitment, which he really feels like is bringing him closer to God, doing these things on time. Okay, that's no problem. I'm not saying it's bad. His mindset, his concern is, oh shoot, Asr was 5 minutes ago, whereas me, I'm thinking, okay, let's say Asr or Maghrib was 5 minutes ago. God is not going to be displeased with me if I quickly finished up washing my dishes to go and do my prayer afterwards, 5 minutes after the official time, if we even accept that idea. So that's what he's thinking. I missed Asr, which was 5 minutes ago, whereas what am I thinking? I'm thinking, oh shoot, I should have been remembering God in that moment, but instead, I don't watch UFC. I'm just giving an example. I was thinking of that epic UFC fight between Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane. That's what I'm thinking of. So whereas he's guilting himself for missing Asr prayer or Maghrib prayer, which was 5 minutes ago, I guilt myself because there was a moment in my day where I wasn't thinking about God, but I was thinking about stupid entertainment like a UFC fight. Oh, I shouldn't have been thinking about that. It's a waste of time. Oh, I watched a 30-second MMA fight short, like a John Jones edit or whatever, or like a Cristiano Ronaldo soccer edit. I should have been thinking about God and doing something real and being more conscious of my Lord in that moment. That's what I try to hold myself accountable to, and I really believe that is the essence of the Quranic message. Again, an integrated, full remembrance of God at every moment. Again, we're all going to forget at times. We're all going to fall short. God says, remember me when you forget. So we're all going to forget. We do get lost and trapped in the life of this world. Our Lord is forgiving and merciful. No doubt about it. But I'm just trying to emphasize or show the difference in the emphasis between two different ideologies. The Sunni ideology, I missed Maghrib, which was 5 minutes ago. But then once he does his Maghrib, once Maghrib is finished for him, then he goes back to watching his MMA and he goes back to playing his video games. Versus me, I'm not as up the rear end about missing my prayer, which was a minute ago, but rather I'm more up my own rear end. Sorry to use a bad example, but I'm more on my case when I wasn't remembering God and I was wasting my time and thinking of and absorbing my thoughts in worldly things. That's what I get upset of myself over, and I believe that's more of an application of the Quranic message. And overall, I really wonder where this 5-pillar religion came from. And I have my speculations. I'll share them with you. God knows best, but just what I'm thinking. At the end of the day, like I was saying earlier, the Quranic message is so deep and profound and spiritual, not complicated. It's actually very, very simple, but it's so integrated and holistic that most people are just not going to get it. And I'm not trying to be arrogant, but most people, they just don't have it. God, and those who do have it, I'm not saying that they should exalt. We should be thankful to God that we're able to understand these things on the deeper and deeper level, and pray that God allows us to understand even more deeper. Maybe there's things that we don't get about the Quran, but my point is, I wonder if this 5-pillar religion was a way of making the deep integrated spiritual philosophy of the Quran, which revolutionized an entire demographic of people. It made it accessible to the commoners and the masses. I know anything good in life or I should say anything of value, in order for it to be accessible to the masses, it has to be dumbed down and made profane, because most people, they just don't get it. They're not sophisticated enough. They don't have the attention span. They don't think that deeply. God does not have very flattering things to say about the majority. The majority of people are astray. So it's like, you can even think of YouTube content or online YouTube videos. In order to get your channel really, really popular, to appeal to a mass group of people, not have a small channel like mine, you have to take a 20-minute video, a 15-minute video, a 30-minute lecture, and break it down into small bite-sized chunks called YouTube shorts and Instagram shorts and TikTok shorts. Then you might get popularity. But when you take the video and that 20 minutes and you break it down to a 30-second highly processed, edited sort of short, you lose a lot of the essence, a lot of the meaning, you lose a lot of the quality, but you get a quantity of people, more people watching. That's just the nature of reality. That's the nature of society. In order to make things appealing on a mass scale, you have to lose some of the quality and the richness, because people just, they don't get it. They don't understand. They don't have the attention span. And I'm wondering if that's what this kind of static, brick-like, five-pillar idea of mindless, endless ritualism, and once you do, I gotta do my 5 rituals, once I clock in and out of my 5 rituals, God will be happy with me, rather than an integrated, lifelong glorification of God in everything we do. I wonder if this message was sold to the masses because it would be more comprehensible by them, or comprehensible. Like, it was just a way to make it more accessible to the people, because people wouldn't get the true spiritual depth. So they need something quick, they need something easy to remember, like this 5-pillar thing, and that's what was given to them. God knows best, but I know that in any, actually, if you read any religious book, it doesn't just have to be the Quran. You can read the New Testament with the words of Jesus. You can read the Buddhist books like the Dhammapada. They talk about how the majority of people, they just don't get it. They don't understand the spiritual depths of the religious teachings they claim to believe in, but they follow like a profanized version, which is more accessible. And I wonder if that's what developed this 5-pillar ritualistic religion. But obviously God knows best. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's really all I gotta say on the matter. I hope this talk was a blessing. And yeah, peace to you. Remember, deceit abounds, so keep your eyes wide open. Peace out.